I think it's safe to believe the hype. I went to an event in Paris where I could play 2 hours of Hogwarts Legacy thanks to Warner for the invite and did not want to put the controller down. The castle and surrounding areas are full of students going about their everyday life. There are decorations, mini games you can partake in, side quests, and it all looked surprisingly good in the PS5 version I got to play. There was also a lot of depth in the combat system with multiple ways to approach a situation and already some cool spell combinations I could try out. And it all just feels really good to play. Now, it's totally not perfect. I will mention some critiques I had as well, while showing you brand new gameplay I was able to record with no big main story spoilers whatsoever. If you are excited or curious about the game, then don't leave a like on the video to show your support. Subscribe for way more content on Hogwarts Legacy. We are also doing a digital deluxe edition giveaway for subscribers of the channel. You can enter via the link in the pinned comment. And with that out of the way, let's go. After reading your acceptance letter, you'll be able to make your own Hogwarts student, and the character creator has been slightly changed since the first time we saw it. With still the same presets, but now 5 in a row instead of 4, and these characters were first smiling, but in the version that I got to play, the portraits only had serious faces, which I found quite interesting. I decided to go for a female character as we haven't seen those options yet, and you do notice that the face shapes are different than when you pick a male preset. Overall though, every option is available. You can pick one of the 50 hairstyles for every character. There are 3 options for glasses, although you can find more in the game. I, for example, got the gold wooden spectacles after defeating an enemy. You can also select some scars and markings in the character creator. You can change your eye color, eyebrow shape, and you can also pick one of 2 voices. Voice 1 is recorded by Sebastian Kraft, and voice 2 is recorded by Amelia Getting. I went with the normal difficulty. There is even a story mode though, for if you don't want much of a challenge. Okay, I got the suitable name, and now let's start my journey. And I was then able to explore a small bit in and around Hogwarts, which was quite the adventure. You are free to summon your broom at any time to fly around the castle, which was quite impressive. The Quidditch arena is also in the game, but as you might know, the sport is not available as an activity. Let's hope that changes in the future though. Now they're kinda teasing us, although it was cool to see the stadium up close. But also when you take the time to walk around, you will see many students just minding their own Hogwarts business, learning spells, preparing their broom for flying. It's overall pretty cool to see other students just fly around. And I was also able to do a Summoner's Court match by talking to this Gryffindor student. In this game you have to use Accio to move balls on the field, and the further they move, the more points you get. But it's easier said than done though, as you want to make sure that you don't push the balls from your opponent, and there are obstacles that will stop the ball from rolling. So you have to find the right angle and also be smart about which ball you want to roll first. I will get Leander next time. Inside the castle you also find a lot of students, and here I could talk to Cressida Bloom for a side quest. I think it's interesting that she mentions how we already met in the common room. Like in the full game you can of course choose your house, probably during the sorting ceremony, but for this play session I was put in Gryffindor. So you would think that this dialogue is different if you speak to Cressida when from Slytherin, for example, because then you would likely not have met her in the common room, right? Either way, for the side mission I had to pick up 5 books in the library next door because Cressida wanted to make her books as light as a feather with her own charm, but confused the Latin word for feather with bird and discussed the books to fly away instead. With the Revelio spell that you learn very early on in the game and that is mapped to the left button on the D-pad on PS5, you can easily spot things in the environment, and then with the Accio spell you can pull them towards you. You by the way also want to use this for random field guide pages that are flying around in Hogwarts, or some piece of paper are invisible, so then you have to do Revelio to reveal them before you can pick them up. Finding all 5 books for Cressida was easy enough. I got a nice XP reward for it, which caused me to level up from 2 to 3, and when leveling up you should get a talent point. But I think this menu unlocks later on, as I did not get these talent points right away, only during a later save when I went from 19 to 20. And with talents you should be able to enhance your spells, like for example add a ring of fire to the Incendio spell that can hurt enemies around you. It is my speculation though, because apart from this state of play footage, we still have no clue what the talent system actually looks like. But I did notice that there are many challenges for completing side and relationship quests, for example, which are likely missions with some of our companions. There are challenges for main quests, finding collectibles, defeating a certain type of enemy, and way more. So it seems that everything we do in Hogwarts Legacy will count towards something, which makes looking around every corner even more rewarding, although I think I will be doing that anyways. Now I am curious how often the NPCs change though, or if the same students will always be in the same spot. What I did notice is that they were referring to events that had just happened, so maybe after big story moments, things in the castle will change, or I could see students in different locations also depending on the in-game season that we're currently in. So we kind of have to wait and see, but I think I can say that exploring Hogwarts for the first time will be very special. It's of course a big school with multiple floors, so the fact that you can select a quest and then follow a trail to get to your next objective is very helpful. Right now we're going to a duel club where you can test some of your spell combos against a dummy or try your combat skills against other students. And I gotta say, it feels really good. With R2 you cast a basic spell that thanks to a combination of sound and impact feels very satisfying to pull off, with the final spell of that 4-hit combo dealing significantly more damage. I was also immediately combining spells, like Incendio has a very short range, so it's easy to miss, but with Accio I could pull an enemy towards me and then burn them, which removes a lot of health from the target. I really like the shield mechanic as well, where you have to use a spell with the same color to destroy the enemy's defenses. Like this forces you to use a wider variety of spells than you maybe otherwise would. And where the previous gameplay mostly showed a character standing still while casting and defeating enemies, I was rolling and moving around way more often. Enemies can namely do attacks indicated by a red halo around your character, like Levioso, which will lift you up in the air if you don't move out of the way. A simple button press can get you out of the situation though, but it's of course even better to avoid this altogether. Attacks indicated with an orange halo can be countered with Protego, which you do by hitting triangle at the right time. For the final part of my play session, I was thrown into a level 19 mission, and it was quite overwhelming to suddenly have way more spells and items at my disposal. But it did give me a taste of the amount of depth we should expect in the full game. There were 23 slottable spells next to 6 essentials that have their own dedicated button, so you can always access. And when you hover over these spells, you can expect the name, a description, and a short video showcasing the spell in action. And it seems like this info is immediately accessible even before you unlock these spells. So from the screen you can select the spells that you want to use during combat. I had 2 spell wheels during that final mission I played, but it was kinda hard to switch between them as you had to hold R2 and then press a D-pad button to switch to a different wheel. While in games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey you only have to hit that one D-pad key. Now maybe we can change this in the menu or get used to it over time, but right now it totally slowed down the combat a bit as I was fighting the menus trying to find the right spell while also battling all the enemies in every corner of the screen. You also have a combo meter which when full lets you perform an R1 and L1 attack on an enemy, turning them into a chicken or swinging them around. There are multiple animations, but it basically just instantly takes them out. I also had access to some plants and potions. I could put down the venomous tentacula, which basically a turret that fires at nearby enemies. I used the mandrake to stun an enemy so I could easily finish them off, and also used a pretty crazy maxima potion which seemed to have doubled my spell damage for 20 seconds, which was quite powerful. I played that final encounter 2 times, and that second time I was parrying, dodging and finding the right spells way quicker than the first time around, so there's totally some sort of learning curve, but I also think this once again shows you that there's enough depth to hopefully keep it interesting for the tens of hours that it will take to do everything. Another tactic you can do is cast Disillusionment to cloak yourself and then sneak up to enemies to instantly kill them with the Petrificus Totalis. This kind of felt like cheating as enemies had no clue what was going on and all died one by one, so I decided to give them a shot at defending themselves as well. But yes, stealth seems like a very powerful tactic, and I love the fact that while cloaked, you and other characters will whisper to not alert enemies, so it seems like they recorded lines and all the spells for this quieter approach, which is a really cool attention to detail.
What I wouldn't give to be a Demiguise right now.
Don't know what Victor was sinking straight in above.
Warner and Avalanche did not hold back in terms of production budget. This feels like the Harry Potter game we've dreamed of for many years, but I don't think we should expect them to reinvent the wheel. I still had to investigate and interact with objects in the environment before I could continue with the quest, or I could not go too far from Poppy during the very linear main mission. I personally don't mind this though, as I think existing in the Wizarding world is unique enough already. Having only ranged combat is going to be very interesting, and I love how spells can interact with the environment. Like I, for example, destroyed this bridge and then used the Reparo spell to repair it afterwards, but there was no pop-up or message telling me that I could do that. I just thought, hey, this might work, and well, it did. It all seems very well connected, and I think curiosity will be rewarded in this game, making Hogwarts come to life even more. Like February 10th or 7th, if you have the deluxe edition, can't come soon enough. If you, by the way, have questions, then drop them down below, as I will probably do a Q&A video next, where I will try to answer your questions if I'm able to, based on my 2-hour experience. So totally subscribe for that, and of course way more Hogwarts Legacy videos. A like on the video would really help me out, and if you want to know how to prepare for launch, well, check out the video by clicking on the screen. For now though, I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.